Hi there. Today let's talk about something a bit personal. And when you think back to your childhood, what is the first memory that pops into your mind? Is it running around outside with absolutely no cares in the world? Or is it walking on eggshells, trying to manage the heavy, silent tension inside your house? For some of us, childhood wasn't just about playing games and watching cartoons. If you were making dinner for your younger siblings when you were only 8 years old, if you had to act as the translator or the referee during your parents' arguments, or if you learned to read the room before you even learned to read chapter books, then you were probably one of those children who had to grow up way too fast. In psychology, we have a specific term for this. It is called parentification. But let's be honest, that clinical word doesn't quite capture what it actually feels like, does it? It doesn't capture the weight of being so small while holding up a world that is so big. Today, we are going to dive deep into how this experience rewired your brain, the hidden superpowers it gave you, and why a strange, empty ache suddenly shows up when you finally reach adulthood. First, we need to understand one crucial thing. No child wakes up one day and says, "Hey, I think I will be extra responsible and stressed out today." It is never a conscious choice. It is a survival mechanism. When things are unstable at home, whether it is because of financial struggles, a parent's illness, or emotional chaos, the child's brain makes a quick decision. If I can keep everything under control, if I can be perfect, then everyone will be safe. Research from the Harvard Center on the Developing Child shows that when a child navigates adult-level responsibilities, the parts of the brain responsible for empathy, emotional regulation, and reading social cues grow much faster and stronger. You can walk into a room and instantly sense tension before anyone even says a single word. This looks like exceptional maturity to the outside world. Psychologists know the truth. It is not true maturity. It is a child's nervous system trapped in a constant crisis mode. Up to this point, it might sound like a sad story. But the fact that you grew up early means you develop qualities that many adults will spend their entire lives trying to learn. Richard Tedeschi calls it post-traumatic growth. He discovered that a large percentage of people don't just bounce back after a hard childhood, they bounce forward. Because of what you went through, you possess a rare kind of emotional depth. You know how to truly listen when someone is speaking. You don't flinch or run away when life gets messy or painful for the people you love. You can sit with a friend who is heartbroken and just be there with them, without trying to give empty advice. You didn't break. You just became strong in a way that the world desperately needs. Shh. Now let's talk about something almost nobody warns you about. A very specific phenomenon happens to people who grew up too fast once they reach their late 20s or early 30s. Usually by this time, the chaos has slowed down. You have built a life that is finally safe. You have a job that pays the bills, a stable routine, and maybe a healthy relationship where you don't have to manage anyone's emotions. Your nervous system finally takes a deep breath and exhales. And right when everything is completely okay, a strange, quiet ache shows up out of nowhere. You might be at a grocery store watching a random toddler throw a massive temper tantrum, and instead of being annoyed, you feel a sudden wave of jealousy. Jealous that someone is there to pick them up and tell them it's okay. You find yourself crying unexpectedly during a Pixar movie about childhood, and you don't even know why it hurts so much. Here is why. You are finally meeting the version of you that never got to exist. The kid who wanted to be silly, the kid who wanted to have hobbies for no reason. The kid who wanted to make mistakes without feeling like it was the end of the world. That child didn't die. They were just locked away so you could survive. Now that you are safe, that grief is finally allowed to come to the surface. Do not be afraid of that ache. It is not a step backward. It is one of the most beautiful signs of healing there is. So, how do we heal from a childhood that we aren't even sure counts as trauma? First, you have to allow yourself to grieve. It is okay to admit that you deserve better. You can love your parents and still acknowledge that you missed out on a massive chapter of your life. Saying this out loud doesn't make you ungrateful or bitter. It just makes you honest. Second, you have to learn the incredibly difficult lesson that you are not a human doing. You are a human being. Your worth is not measured by how much you produce, how many problems you solve, or how well you take care of everyone else. You're allowed to exist simply because you are you. This means learning how to rest without feeling guilty. Rest is not something you have to earn after working yourself to exhaustion. I want you to take a moment to look back at that little kid you used to be. The one who kept their mouth shut to keep the peace. The one who worked so hard to make sure everyone else was okay. I want you to tell them you did an incredible job. You were braver and stronger than any child should ever have to be. But your shift is over. You can retire now. You don't have to run the show anymore. It is never too late to have a happy childhood. There is no expiration date on joy, and there is no timeline on being playful. You are allowed to buy the silly toys you couldn't have, to spend a whole Saturday doing absolutely nothing productive, and to laugh until your stomach hurts. The child who grew up too fast finally has someone reliable to protect them and keep them safe. And that person is you. If this story felt like your story, please know that you are not alone in this journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and maybe send this video to a friend who also grew up a little too early, just to let them know I see you. Until next time, take care of yourself and give yourself permission to just breathe.